This time on Rad Rat Video, we talk about why skate park footage is frowned upon for video parts, and we talk about a lot of other questions. So let's get into it. Welcome back to Rad Rat Video, the channel where you can learn something new about skateboarding 3 times a week. Every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, we take a look at something in the skateboarding world. On Wednesdays, I answer your questions on this series, Ask Rad Rat. And I'm going to do something a little bit different this month. I want to start answering a lot more questions per video. I've been getting a ton through my website, radratvideo.com. You can submit questions through there. And I've been getting so many that instead of doing 2 or 3, I want to start doing like 5 of them. I'm going to pick some smaller ones and a couple bigger ones and try to just answer more of your questions, and I'm excited to test it out. We'll see how it goes, and let's get into it. First question today is from Mode7, who asks, how come in modern skateboarding parts you don't see more than 3 or 4 tricks in a line? I was watching Ray Barbie's part in Ban This, and noticed some of these lines are 5 or 6 tricks long. I love watching that flow, even if the tricks are easier. So there are a couple things. First of all, the attention span, of course, is a lot lower than it was. But I don't know if that's really the biggest thing. I think it's more about just the flow. You know, like it's a lot better to watch a couple of tricks that are real quick. You know, you do like a tail slide to fakie, then fakie flip down something real quick versus having these really long lines where you push for a while, push, and then you get ready. You know, the flow of the line, also the flow of the part as far as how it fits in with the music and all that kind of stuff. It's just a lot better to have quicker things. So if you do a bunch of really quick single tricks and then you have a line where you push for 10 seconds between your tricks, it really brings the part to a stop. Sometimes you can find a slower part in the song and it fits in there, but it just fits a lot better in the editing and everything if you do it that way. Also, I think it's harder to calculate how hard something is if it's really long. The longest lines I can think of are Chet Thomas in Opinion, where he does a trick and then he pushes and he pushes and he pushes, and they actually show other clips while he's pushing, and then they cut back to him and he does the next trick, and at the end of it you don't really remember like what he did all in order, you know, like it might as well have been 3 single tricks that weren't that good versus a really hard line, you know. I think having it all in your brain at the same time and remembering how he set up and then he just got right into the next trick, it's just a lot more satisfying and it looks a lot better. But, you know, that's just the current style. It could always go back. Who knows? Do whatever you want. The next question is from Fletcher Hubert, who asked my thoughts on wake skating. And I really like watching wake skating. I think it's super cool. But I don't think it's ever going to catch on because it's got an obvious flaw. If you bail a trick, you have to go swim over, find your board, and of course, just like wakeboarding, the boat's got to turn around and come pick you up and stuff. I don't know how you get good at that, considering you've got like 3 tries per hour, considering all the setup time and everything. So I don't know. I think it's really cool to see someone kickflip over a wake, but I don't think I'm ever going to try it, and I don't think it's ever going to catch on huge, but I respect it a lot. Next question is from Jimbo. Why is a 360 flip treated as this big benchmark trick? That's a good question, and I always used to hate the 360 flip. Back when I first started skating, I was really into the obscure stuff. I would do like, whatever, no comply stuff and shove it under flip. I was always doing the kind of more weird version of stuff because I thought it was cool and that it stood out more and that it was more interesting than seeing the same trick over and over and over. But over time, I started to realize that the 360 flip has a lot of really good stuff going for it. First of all, the board ends the same way it started, which any 360 trick will do, but that makes it really convenient. You can do it in a line, it doesn't mess you up. You could do it anywhere you want to do it, and you land the way you started. So there's a lot of tricks that do that. There's impossibles, there's laser flips, there's nollie 360 flips, there's all kinds of stuff, but the 360 flip also just looks really good. It has a really good balance to it. The way it flips through the air, it's doing 1 spin and 1 flip all at the same time. It's really balanced, and compare that to like a 360 double flip. You know, you can see that sometimes and it just doesn't look that great. It looks like it's just kind of going crazy and then he catches it. It doesn't have that smooth kind of floating through the air type of look that the 360 flip does. And the other thing about it is that you don't have to cheat. Like there's no hacks to make sure you land it clean. Like the impossible, for example, when you do the trick and it wraps around your foot will end up right in the middle of the board, and you have to find a way to get it back over the bolt. So there's a couple different ways you can do it. I have a trick tip right here if you want details on the exact ways to do it, but there's a couple different ways. You can either wrap it really, really well and then try to slide your foot back, wrap it and then pull your foot off and then move it. And then that's got problems where the wrap looks great, but then it's kind of awkward in the air. You're catching it with your feet really close and then trying to pull your other foot back. You could also let go of the wrap a little bit early so that it's about 3/4 of the way through, and then you slide it as it's finishing the rotation. And that doesn't look as great because the wrap doesn't look quite as good. There's just different ways that you have to kind of cheat to do it clean and do it well. But the 360 flip doesn't have any of that stuff. You can just do the trick, you can catch it bolts, and you can land it clean, and you don't have to sacrifice anything. So I think that's why the trick is so popular, especially over something, stuff that's equal, like a laser flip has all those same advantages, but that trick is just a little more awkward. You have to kick it really hard, so it's not as clean and smooth and stylish in the air. For some people, you've seen some really great laser flips, I'm sure, but I think the 360 flip for most people just has a really good balance, both of the way the trick looks, the way that it behaves, the way that you can set up with it, and all that kind of stuff. So the 360 flip is going to be a very popular trick forever, and that's why it's a benchmark, because everyone does it. So you can compare whose was best and all that kind of stuff. So that's what I have to say about that one. Next one is from Phil. Will you be making any new t-shirt designs? If you had asked when I first launched this one, I would have said absolutely. I would have had all kinds of different colors, different designs. I was going to have different types of products even. But at this point, I'm not really sure. It's been going really, really slow. I think I've sold maybe like 1/5 of the order that I put through the first time. So I've got this huge box just full of them in my closet right there. And I don't know how I'm going to go forward with the whole selling stuff sort of thing, because it's really tough. I don't know if I should spend another $400+ to do another run and then I'll sell 3 of those. I don't want to have a closet stuffed full of boxes of products that aren't going anywhere. So I really want to see how this one does. I know a lot of people wanted it in white instead of blue, but I've heard that kind of thing before. I've had people promise that they'll buy something if I do something a certain way, and then when I do, I sell 0. On my old channel, I had a trick tip video that I made, and it was a 2-disc set of all the trick tips I had done, plus a few bonus ones, and I thought it was going to be a home run, because back then on YouTube, you can only do 240p, 30 frames a second. It was really compressed, it looked terrible. Having a DVD would be a huge help. You can actually go through it frame by frame, all that kind of stuff. It would have looked a lot better, and people were really, really interested in it. And I think I sold 3 of them. I had like 42,000 subscribers and I sold 3. 2 of them I lost money on because I was charging $20 flat for anywhere in the world. I sold one to Canada and the dude mailed me a $20 bill, but it was Canadian. I still have it because I haven't found a place to convert it yet. Another one bought one from Cyprus, which I thought was going to be no big deal. It ended up costing me like $18 just to mail it. I sold one in the US, and I think I made enough to make it worth burning it and shipping it. But the point is, like, people will say that they want it, and they want it, they want it, they want it, and then when you make it available, it doesn't always work. So it's tough to really make plans based on what people ask for, because I just don't know how it's going to work. So am I going to make more shirt designs? I hope so, but I'm not going to keep digging myself deeper and deeper and deeper with no way out either. So I don't know. Stay tuned. At this point, this is all that it's going to be for a while, but if they start selling better, maybe I'll try to branch out. We'll just see. Last question is from Jeff Thompson. What about parks makes footage from them less great? Is this perception a result of physical, perfect ledge, good ground, or mental, distance from public, blending in with other skaters, benefits provided by the park? In my opinion, it's the latter. So, Jeff, I got your question all 5 times you sent it. It takes me at least a month to make the video because I will try to work a month ahead. If I get your question today and I'm about to start filming, it'll still be about a month. So you don't need to send it so many times. But I think there's a couple of different issues. Street skating especially has always been about conquering your environment. You see a couple stairs, you see a gap between 2 parking lots or something, and you clear it, and you've done it, and you've reappropriated something from the public to be about skateboarding. And I think that's been a huge part of street since the beginning. But if you're at a skate park, it was all designed for you to skate. There's a perfect amount of run, assuming it's a well-designed park. I've been to some terrible parks, but there's a perfect amount of run, so you have plenty of space to get speed. The landing's perfectly smooth and level, and everything's designed for you to do what you're doing. So it doesn't have that same kind of conquering sort of feel to it. It doesn't feel like you're really out there imposing your will on something that wasn't designed for you. And I think that's a big part of skateboarding. And so it's sort of both things you were talking about. Having the perfect spot and also having something where you're allowed to skate is a big difference. You could be there all day working on something, finally land it, and it's a great trick, but it'd be so much more impressive if you had to do it real quick at midnight with a generator and all that kind of stuff, because that's the only time you could get to that spot. And it's this big famous thing that people see all the time, but they've never had a chance to skate there. But you managed to do it because you jumped the fence and did all that kind of stuff. So I think that's why legitimate in the street type of street is always going to be more popular, because it's not just about the spot and the trick. It's also about what you had to do it. So that's one of the biggest things to me. But I do think it's a little bit weird that it's almost banned in actual video parks. Back in the day, like in the 90s, you'd see skate park footage all the time. And it wouldn't just be like a ledge downstairs, like something street related. You'd see tricks over a hip in a video park, like a professional video park. You'd see that kind of stuff. And to me, it never really stood out that much. It didn't seem that weird, because there was still normal street, but there would just be like a little park section. And there'd be 20 seconds with a couple of different tricks over the hip. And I never really had that big of a problem with it, but over time that started to get more and more frowned upon, and it would start to fade away. And now you don't see it at all. But I don't think it's as big of a deal as it sounds, because you still have all of the other stuff. Like you could watch the barracks. You could watch like stuff on Instagram. People will post, here's what I did today. And it's not going to be in their video part, but you still get to see it. So it's not really a big loss that stuff doesn't make it into a video part, but I do think that's why you only see it that way, because it's about the conquering, it's about going out and urban exploring and all that kind of stuff. So hopefully that answers your question. If you have more questions for next time, go to radratvideo.com and you can send a message through my Ask Rad Rat form right there on the homepage. Otherwise, I have an Instagram and Twitter below. You can DM me on those. I'm a little bit slower to reply because it's a whole process I got to do, but you can send them there. That'll work as well. But in the meantime, here's some more videos you might want to check out. Make sure you tap my logo on screen right there to subscribe, and that way you can keep learning new things about skateboarding 3 times a week. Thanks for watching.